I think the Loyola difference is that at all times, what I remember having been a student here and now as a teacher is that everything that we do is ultimately driven by this idea, this motto. It's changed a little bit in the way that it's expressed, but for us it was just 3 words: men for others. And now with the grad characteristics, the different formulations of it, the way we think about it is maybe more elaborate, but it ultimately comes down to that. It comes down to everything you do and everything you imbibe and everything you learn is ultimately with this view to wanting to be somebody who can provide a contribution to society, to others. And that is always a question that, since I graduated here through my adult life, every big decision I've had to make in my life has always been driven by, I want to find some way where I can be a man for others. Like that's just a mission that is driven into the students here, and it just becomes a way to guide yourself through life and understand everything we do. Ultimately, we have a desire for it to be important, for it to be significant to those around us, and recognizing that so much of fulfilling ourselves as ourselves is becoming people of service for others, to me, is probably the heart of the Loyola difference.
You walk into the building and you can feel the love, you can feel the support. The tradition of the school, I think, is also something that's really special. Our alum come back, they tell stories all the time about the great teachers that they had and the great friendships that they made. The Jesuit network, I think, is also really important too, to know that we're not alone up here in Montreal. We have a lot of other schools across Canada and in the States and in the rest of the world too, that makes this school special, that makes this school part of something bigger than just being in Montreal.
The difference comes in the experience of being here, and when you walk into the door, you sense it, and it's almost immediate that you can feel that this is home for the kids that are here. So how you want to define that, and you can say, well, we have great staff, which we do. You can say our curriculum is challenging, which it is, but it's not any one of those things. It's the way it comes together in our experience of it, which is living it like a family. And I think that feeling is palpable when we walk into the school and in the relationships that develop between parents and faculty and students. And I think that's what makes the difference more than anything. It's also the idea that it's not limited to just the circumstances that we happen to be relating, whether it's a geography or a math class or a football thing. It's the recognition that those relationships talk about more, that there's something about each individual person which is utterly unique, and that's recognized in those relationships, and it's called forward in what we do. And that's what gives us the experience of being needed and wanted and loved in a place it's a school, but it's way more than a school.
I would say if you're looking for a difference maker, I'm not talking about solely on the academic side or on the athletic side, but I mean a difference maker as a whole in terms of the stream and the life of your child, your son. I think Loyola is a place. It's a hidden secret. Loyola is a hidden secret, and what I would suggest for them is don't look at it as one, like academics. We have academic excellence, we have athletics, we have extracurriculars that are different than a lot of schools. So yes, it's not a public school, it's a private school, but it has a community feel. And if you really want to change the trajectory of your son's life, I think this is a great place for your kid to grow as a human being, not just as an academic or athletic, but as an overall human being.
There's just a feeling, and I know we spend a lot of time at Loyola trying to put our finger on what it is about this place, but it's just a genuine positivity. And I don't know that you get that everywhere. And I have colleagues who work at other schools, and you'll find these little glimpses here and there, but here it's just a constant thing. And for me, that's just as both an educator, but just as a person, it's just an incredibly beautiful and fulfilling thing, and it makes me really, really happy to be a part of it.
I think on one level, we got to look at it from an idea of Renaissance learning. I think it basically teaches the whole person. So I think it goes beyond just the confines of pure academia. I think one thing that the curriculum does is it really focuses on the issue of experience. So having the kids kind of take the theory behind what learning is all about and being able to practice it in the real world to make the world a better place.
We are so focused on unlocking the gifts that each kid has. Every kid in the building has something that they are talented at. Some of them are really easy to find. Some of them are guys who are fantastic athletes. Some of them are incredible musicians. Some of them are incredibly artistic. And we look at that and we go, well, that's that kid's talent. And I'm sure there are many more, but there are some kids where finding that talent is difficult for a variety of reasons. The kid lacks confidence. The student has not yet found the thing that he's good at. And it is our responsibility to find that gift that they have and unlock it with them. Not for them, you can't do it for them, but you want to accompany them and help them unlock that gift that they have. And that is oftentimes a very challenging thing to do because it means taking the time to get to know that person individually.
Well, lots of schools do many similar things. I think the difference begins really because either the parents or the students choose to be here. Sometimes it's more a parent choice than a student choice, sometimes more a student choice than a parent one. But by wanting to be here, they want then to see it work. They want to see things develop and grow. And there's already a commitment made. So we start on the right foot, both with parents, kids, and teachers. So it's a huge difference.
When you experience Loyola, when you go through Loyola, it's something that you carry with you the rest of your life. And I think that difference is that you're not asked to graduate and go out and conquer the world, but you're asked to graduate and go out and contribute in a meaningful way to the world. And intrinsically, you carry that with you.
My favorite thing about being in the classroom is probably the energy that's emitted by the students. I think on any given day, you never know what you're going to get. And the one thing that I can say is if you challenge them to a point where they can enthrall you, they can open your mind to certain things, is probably the one thing that I really appreciate the most by being in a classroom.
I would say that there is a joy in teaching to see the kids learn something, which is absolutely irreplaceable. Part of the commitment, I think, comes from teachers who enjoy teaching. And to see kids learn is really something. You might be teaching the same thing year in, year out, but your students are always different. And they always perceive it and learn it in a different way. And that is always exciting and fun.
Definitely the interaction with the students. I think I really enjoy that. I try to make it interesting. We have a lot of fun together. The classes are usually animated. We interact. There's a lot of fun projects we do, and that's really the best thing we do. I mean, I'm lucky in science. We do labs, we do experiments, so I try to get the students involved, get them interested in that. And I know not all students are going to be doing science, but the way the world's going, there's a lot of scientific issues that will need to be addressed. So even the students that aren't into science, I like to give them an understanding and an interest in a wide variety of scientific areas, so that when they leave, they can look at things with a kind of balanced viewpoint.
Je pense que ça aide l'élève au départ à se dépasser académiquement, à essayer d'exceller, à donner le meilleur de soi-même, à progresser. Mais ça ne vise pas que ça. On cherche à développer la personne entière, à l'amener à plus tard pouvoir être une personne compétente qui pourra aider les autres, servir la communauté.
Within a Jesuit education, I think there's an element of it that is about being tireless. It's most simply exemplified in the prayer for generosity. If you look at that prayer, they talk about to be tireless, to give and not to count the costs. And to me, that's what teaching is supposed to be about, the best teaching, that you become tireless at that.
You'll meet students and they say there's just something about Loyola that they loved, that they enjoyed, and that's really that links back to the Jesuit education, the sort of lifelong learning and striving for knowledge and helping other people ultimately. I tell the students when we talk about careers and and the future. Okay, so you want to get a good job, you want to get some money, but why? What's the ultimate goal? And there's always the big picture that I try to get them to look at, and why are they going through all this? What are they going to do with this in the end?
Being a graduate of the school, the one thing I noticed the most about the school, apart from the strong academics, the people that you meet, I think the one thing that stands out for me is the idea or the concept of reflection. It's one of those things that as a young person, you're walking through the school and you're experiencing all the things that there are to experience, and one of them being the idea of reflection and seeing how the things in our lives affect us and how we relate to them and how we kind of allow that to manifest itself into actions. And growing up and becoming a bit more mature and realizing the importance of being able to think about things around us and being a bit more aware of the world around us, there's no doubt in my mind that reflection played an integral role, and to this day still does. And I think that the idea of experiencing something, reflecting on it, and then putting it into action is what really works.
Loyola's relationship with other Jesuit schools is pretty unique given its network. We have a pretty close relationship with the Canadian schools, the Canadian Secondary Education Institution, so St. Paul's in Winnipeg, St. Bon's in Newfoundland, just because of our location in Canada. But we're making headway in other parts of North America. We've recently reached out to some schools on the Eastern Seaboard, and we're hoping to work with them more closely, especially in leadership.
Magis is a word that usually gets translated as more, but it actually is more like the idea of the deeper. More is actually good in a way, because what it is it talks about the idea that there's more than what we think there is right in front of us all the time. And I think that for me is what we try and get our teachers to pay attention to when they're looking at a student, that there's more than what they might see immediately in front of them, but it's also what we get the students to think about when we're exploring anything. That often the meaning of something, the depth of something is far greater than immediately appears to us, and that emphasis I think is what's key in what we do as a school, what we do as a faculty, what we do as students in the school.
The one thing that Loyola really stands out for, apart from just developing young men of consciousness and commitment, is the aspect that learning is not something that's in a state or in a vacuum. It's something that continuously goes on forever and ever, and one that helps us become and mature and be open to the world around us so that we can leave this place better than we found it. But one of the things I really appreciate about Loyola is the fact that we allow our students to realize that teaching goes beyond just the confines of the walls of the school, and that it's something that basically is always put into action.
Je pense que ça les aide à se développer pleinement, pas seulement du point de vue académique, mais aussi du point de vue spirituel, sportif, développer des liens sociaux aussi entre les élèves, leur apprendre à rencontrer des personnes qu'ils n'auraient peut-être pas rencontrées naturellement, aller vers l'autre.
Kids can choose things that excite them, that really interest them, rather than, the math and the science that all the kids have to take. I think that's something that's really motivating for the kids as well.
They feel that it's a family. There's a real culture here that is palpable. When you walk in the building, you sense something special about this place. And I think by the time the students get to secondary 5, it's quite obvious to them what is so special about the school. And it is this sense that you're part of a family. They leave the school having built relationships not only with each other, but also with the faculty and staff. And I think that's a real special trait that Loyola has.
I think it's changed over the years for sure. It's one of those things where Loyola has been around for so long. If you ask someone this question in the 80s and the 90s when I was here, early 2000s to now, I think there's certainly a change in how people would feel about the school, but it comes with culture. But the one thing that I think remains the same is that students, for the most part, in the building are smiling when they're here. And that tells me more than I need to know. Even guys that, in the area that I deal with, that are in trouble in certain situations, have done something that they're being disciplined for, when they come in and are willing to be honest about something and forthcoming, the way I see that is they love this place so much, they'd be terrified to lose it. And if you're terrified to lose something, that says a lot, that it's a part of who you are and a part of your character and a part of what what your life revolves around. And for many of our students, the school is the center of their life. I think in a lot of places in the world, that's not the case anymore. Their lives are centered around a lot of different things and activities and their friends. And though all those things are encompassed at Loyola for our students, they love it, and it matters more to them than almost anything. So for me, it's always been the people that are here love it as much as I do, and I think that makes the place, the culture and the building, just a very happy place to be.
Our students feel like this is a really special place. I think our faculty feels the same way as well. When you walk into the building, there's something different, there's something special, there's something unique. And I think it's the people that are here, from the teachers to the administrators to the parents to their friends and their teammates. I think they feel like they're in a really special place, and they're very, very lucky to be here. And they also know that they're very well supported. So their teachers are always available to give them extra help. Their principal, their vice principals, their coaches, I think they feel very, very well supported and very loved.
I would say caring, community. I would say love and betterment, self-betterment, meaning striving for the next level, being better than today, being better than yesterday, just trying to be better human beings as well as academic excellence.
I think the one word, if I had to kind of narrow it down to one thing, it's love. And I think it's something that you just feel. I mean, we hear it all the time, right? That we talk about a sense of community and family. But if you put all that together, the core of it is really love, and that's basically the love that we have for each other, the support that we give one another, whether it be through what we do with our students or what we do with colleagues. But it's definitely something that I think is what guides us to become better people. Again, to change the world for a better place.
I would say kind of a greater purpose. You can get an education anywhere. You can take the classes that the ministry tells you to take. But at Loyola, we spend a lot of time focusing on what are the things that make you a whole person? What are the things that make you just the best person that you can be? And education is one way of reaching that goal, but it's only one piece of a large puzzle.
I take pride in it because it's a place where I know each student and each individual is cared for. And that is the kind of school I can say, yeah, I'm part of that. I teach at that place.
Every day I have some kind of wonderful interaction with a student. Of course, I'm a counselor, so a lot of my interactions involve what could be very emotional moments with students. But I think what I bring home with me are the funny or the whimsical memories and experiences that I have.
I never went into this profession with the idea that I'd go into administration at all, because my first love is teaching. It's being in the class. And so all the way through, as principal and as president, I taught classes, one or two or at least some, to be able to get into class. And still to this day, as much as I love my job as president and I loved my job as principal, my favorite part of my day is still when I get into the class. And for me, what we do when we're learning anything is like playing. It's you're getting into class and you're exploring things together, and the enjoyment that comes from that is what makes my day all the time. So that's what I love about Loyola. I mean, all the other things too, the alumni and the parents that are here, but it's this sense of, it's not work, it's life. And that's what I really like about coming here. You're coming here to be alive.
I never wake up in the morning thinking, oh my goodness, I have to go to work today. I'm excited to be here. It's another home. It's my second home, I guess. And I think it's the same way for the kids too. So I just want to reiterate that this is an incredibly special place, and we're all really, really lucky to be part of the community.
When there's a student that's trying to grow, and then you're trying to get that student from point A to point B in 5 years, it's being able to look at that person, get to know them, take the time to see who they are, what motivates them, what they what do they value, what do they care about in the people they're with, and using those components of their life to create that progress. So you look at the student and you go, well, this student really cares about his academic progress, and his academic success matters more to him than anything. Well, you're going to use academics as the thing that motivates that kid to progress. And some students aren't motivated by academics. It matters to them, of course, but it's not the thing that makes them tick. Maybe it's their social interactions or their peer groups. You have to look at those things and find a way of making that the vehicle for change in their life. And if you do that, that means you have achieved the cura personalis. You're looking at that person and find whatever it is they care about and using that to get them to where you want them to be in 5 years.
I went into teaching because I wanted to have an opportunity to make an impact in my community, and I felt like teaching at a school like Loyola was a great opportunity because of the values that Loyola espouses, and I find that Loyola gives us an opportunity to really take our talents and gifts and bring them into the classroom and outside of the classroom in all areas of the school. And to be able to do that as a teacher is a great pleasure.
I came to school here, and for me that was the most exciting thing, is being tied to the people and the characters and the culture of the school was the most exciting thing for me. There's a feeling of it being your family. As much as I have my own family, Loyola really is the family that I've grown up with since I was 12 years old. And being able to come and work here every day feels very rarely like a job. You go from your home to another home, to a place where you feel very comfortable, and you walk in and you see the faces that, for me, make me feel a lot more relaxed than I am in many other places. You just know how people are going to react, and most importantly, you know that people really care about you. And I think that's a nice place to work, when you come in and know that the people that are there care about what you do professionally, for sure, but most importantly care about you as a person. So that's probably the thing that makes me want to wake up every morning and come to work.
Just knowing that that community is always there for you is, I think, is something that can help anyone going forward in life. Knowing that you have the support of a community, but also of just the people, just loving people who are always there for you during your 5 years here and also beyond, is just, I think it's just a really great experience as a student.
Je pense que ce qu'il retiendra avant tout, c'est la fraternité, l'amitié qu'il aura développée avec les autres jeunes, et puis l'écoute des professeurs, du personnel en général, pas juste les enseignants.
The things that I remember most from having been a student here myself are the people that I went to school with. I mean, they're the teachers as well. But my best friends now are still people that I went to school with 25 years ago here. They're almost family, you know.
I think the one thing that they will take away from this, beyond the experiences, are the relationships that they made, whether it be with students amongst themselves or whether it be with faculty and staff. I mean, to this day, I'm still very good friends with teachers I had as a student, who in turn are the people who really inspired me to do what I do today, which is teach and share my passion for knowledge with young people.
What you take away from Loyola, what you remember after you graduate, is that you were in an environment where you were supported, encouraged, accepted, free to grow. And that's done through so many different avenues. There are the academics, the classroom, of course, but there's the extracurriculars, sports, arts, there's the social events. But more than that, it's just walking down the corridor. You feel this sense as a student. You feel it as a member of the community, whether it's a teacher, a parent, faculty and staff will all tell you the same thing, and the students do as well.
Students would remember their bridge building between different classmates, their experiences within different classmates, their different teachers. Everyone has a different personality. I think the experience of the school as a whole would be something that they would remember. Athletics, they get a chance to experience different playing fields, playing sports, traveling, the trips, the Sec 4 Experience Week trip in the Dominicans and the Colombias and stuff like that. I think those experiences that are unique to the school are things that I feel like the students will really remember.
What they remember are relationships. They remember the way they interacted with their peers, the way they interacted with their teachers, with their coaches. And I think if we emphasize that building the relationships are what matters, then you're going to be creating memories that'll never be forgotten. And that'll have an impact on the lives of the students here that goes way beyond any particular thing that we teach.
Bursary program provides financial aid to roughly 120 students annually, maybe 1/6 of the school population. We work very hard at making sure we have the socioeconomic diversity in the school that we feel is a reflection of the city itself.
Everyone's treated the same. It's something that people aren't aware of, whether you be teachers or other administrators within the school. So those boys that are here on financial assistance, it's something that is kept very confidential, and something that, as an individual that teaches here, I'm very proud to say that it's nice to be part of that.
If during the course of the 5 years a boy is here and the family suddenly, because of illness or marital issues or loss of work, find themselves in a situation where they cannot afford to attend, the school certainly makes every effort to accommodate them and to help them see their way through the 5 years that they're here.